Well, if they haven't signed up, then I will, if they've asked the prices, how that looks, and it's such a great question, Samantha, is I will say, I'll go through the enrollment, we'll get down to pricing, and then I'll say, well, look, I'm going to give you some homework. You mentioned that you'd like to get a new client. What are let's brainstorm really quickly some things you could do. Now, I'd love to have another call with you next week just to see how it went and see if I can guide that. If you have any questions about working with me, you can ask me that at that time. But otherwise, we're just going to focus on that and just see if you have any questions after you take action. And I really mean it. So when that second call, that is a coaching call. That's another coaching call. And I try to leave as much time, at least 20 minutes or so. It could be an hour call, but we can wrap up the coaching aspect sooner and then leave time at the end that says, and I'll say, do you have any other questions? Was this helpful? And usually I can be quiet. I've learned to be quiet. Try it. We won't do it on this call, but at some point, try being quiet for 20 seconds before saying something else. We had to practice that in USM. Just 20 seconds. It's like a 10-second kiss. That's a long kiss. So if you can just each practice that, and I can hold in a space and create a space that they come in, and if they don't ask, then I might say, do you have any questions about what we talked about last week, working together? It's absolutely okay if it's not time right now. We'll go into, I'll usually answer anything there. And many times they'll just say, yes, I'm ready. I really love this process. Or if I run out of time, I'll schedule a third one. And I'll say that on the next call, we'll just talk about what I see for you. And that's it. And that may only take 30 minutes. But it's about building this relationship. And the more you charge, sometimes the more they need, the more the information they need. They need to know you're going to be there. They're not going to give you a credit card number or, PayPal, and then you're not going to be there for them. And so the more we can slow that down and really do that for them, it gives them a sense of comfort. Last week, I had a second enrollment call with someone, and she's a coach, she's a new coach. So she was watching me each step while I was coaching her. So when we got to the end, she said, and I said, was this useful for you? And she said, yeah. And I left a little space, and she said, so if I don't ask you about your prices, you're not going to tell me. I'm like, no, I'm going to say, thank you so much for your time. Please continue the work that we started. And I wish you so much success. Reach out to me if any questions come up. And she was like, really? And I'm like, yeah, that's really. Now, was I that way when I first started? No. I tell this story all the time. When I work with Steve, I didn't make new clients for the first 6 months with Steve. He had to get me to unlearn that give to get, give them 20 minutes, 25 minutes, find all their pain points, don't coach them at all. And then that same with that other woman, she just added some extra time. And I couldn't even stomach that process, but I couldn't figure out the prosperous coach way of just being of service and letting that service be the business card, the thing that tells them, oh, I want more of that. And so once I got it, and I've been at this 10 years, so in 9.5 years as a prosperous coach, I'll put it that way. It's evolved, but that's why I also really studied, and I'll give you the chapter after we're done, so you can look at it, make it your own, but have a process that's so so second nature that you could be anywhere and somebody say, what would it look like to work with you? Now, if you don't know, you say, well, wait, before we jump in on prices, what is it that you think you would like to work on? What do you think you need a coach for? And then you can schedule a call. You can, I have a lot of clients who are, when they're new and we're talking about just reaching out to people on LinkedIn or Facebook that they haven't talked to, and being really curious, not reaching out to just everybody, but like seeing somebody's name and you light up and think, oh my gosh, I'd love to know what they're up to. And you meet with them for 25 minutes, you're really in that space, listening for them, listening to them for, is there anything that you could serve them on? If not, that's fine. You just end the call. It's been so great, but they're going to ask you, what do you do? And so when they ask me, it's like, well, I help people. I'm a coach. I work with coaches and executives on growing their businesses and their lives and changing them. And it's just the most fun I can do. Enough about me. Tell me more about you. Tell me more about, you mentioned that you were going back to school. Tell me more about that. Whatever it is, because people love to talk about themselves and they don't have enough witnesses of themselves and what's going on in their world. Many people who coach, there are people who say, I want to coach executives. And I'm like, it's not for the faint of heart. Like, if you think you're the expert, this will be a difficult thing for you. If you're attached to doing, this can be difficult with executives because they have all the knowledge. What they don't have is a trusted advisor. And sometimes it can be excruciating. I was working with a consultant, a coach. She's now a coach, but she's a little gripping on it because she just prefers to be in it with people and to sit in a thought leadership position a thought partnership position where the really trusting that the person in front of you, and technically this is what every one of our clients are. They have everything within them to solve their challenges. That's why I use this, so that I remind myself not to jump in and interrupt them. Now, the difference for me sometimes is I have coaches who want tactical training. So it's a balance for me because some need me to teach them tactically the things that they're to do. Some don't. And it's a process to know which one that you're doing that with. But that also requires a level of presence and quiet inside of you.